Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You are welcome to Healtv kitchen. Today we'll be preparing meat pie. Enjoy it. As we all know, in the normal meat pie recipe, we use 500 grams of flour to 250 grams of butter. But in our kitchen today, we'll be using 500 grams of flour to 200 grams of butter. We'll be reducing the butter to some minimum. Join me in the kitchen as we prepare our meat pie. I know what is right and I'm trying to do. If you try to please a man, you'll never be successful. They always find something wrong. So we have our chopped onions and garlic. So we'll fry a little. Our 200 grams of minced meat. So you have your seasoning. You have small curry to it. You have some thyme. We have our ginger powder. To taste. Then salt. So when our meat is brownish in color from the reddish, you stir when the meat is brownish, no traces of red color. Then we add our water. This is our 1 cup of water. We add it to the meat. Then we have our diced carrots and potato, Irish potato. So here we have 5 large size of potatoes and just 2 medium sized carrots chopped. So we add half cup of water to it to boil. Add curry. So after adding the water, salt, and we'll check our salt if it's okay. We'll now cover it and allow it to boil so that the carrots and the potato will be soft. So after 10 minutes, our potatoes and carrots should have been cooked. So we now mix 2 tablespoons of flour with water. Then we add it to our boiled fillings to thicken it. If you try to please a man, you'll never be successful. They always find something wrong. I spend a lot of time in this kind of situation. So the flour we added, that's the mixed flour we added, is for the filling not to be dried when you fill it inside the meat pie dough. So that's why we are adding flour. Then you off your lights. Now our fillings is ready. You can see how it looks like. It's yummy. It's appealing. So we are taking measurements of the flour we'll be using for the meat pie dough. So now, when you're using an electronic scale, firstly, you put it on, you place your bowl, you now come to tear, you take back the measurement to 0. So here we are using 250 grams of flour. We have our flour, 250 grams. So for the meat pie dough, we'll need flour, butter, and salt. So we'll be taking the measurement of our butter. So since our flour is 250 grams, we'll be taking 125 grams of butter. But here we'll be using 120. So we have 120. Let's separating. Half teaspoon of salt. Some people like to have their dough sweet, So here we'll be adding 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. We'll be adding 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. We have our baking powder. We'll be using 1 teaspoon of powder. Leverage. We had nutmeg, 1/8 teaspoon. So we had our butter. If you have a hand mixer, you can use your hand mixer. You mix it to form a very fine sandy dough. Check it out. The dough is sandy, so our dough is ready. So we add the water. We have a cup of water, so we add it gradually so that to get the actual measurement of water. That's why I'm using my hand. So the dough should not be too stiff and not too soft. So as I'm mixing, I'm molding it to check out if my dough is not too hard or too soft. So your dough should not be sticky to the hand and should not be hard. It should be soft, you can see. So we need the dough. Put some flour on the board so it will not be sticky. So we'll place our dough on it. You can leave your dough to rest in the freezer or in the fridge for 30 minutes or 15 minutes thereof. But here we'll be kneading it so that the gluten will make it firm. So it will be firm. The reason for putting it in the fridge for 30 minutes is for the flour to rest so that the gluten, which is responsible for the elasticity of the dough, will set in. So also by kneading, it makes it more elastic. So when we have an elastic dough, then our dough is ready to be filled. You can see our dough is set. You can see. It's stretchy. So we'll leave it for 10 to 15 minutes. Before we now cut and fill in our fillings. We want the dough to rest so that the gluten aspect of it will have set in place. It will make it more elastic and more firm. This is a clean nylon. You use it to cover dough or any food items to keep it away from flies. Or you can use any nylon you have in the house just to allow it to rest for 10 minutes or 15. Our dough is set, so we'll knead it into a thin dough. So this is our pizza cutter. We'll divide it into two so that we'll be able to knead it conveniently. Too thin or too thick, you lift it up to see the thickness of your dough. Here we have our meat pie cutter. So for those who do not have a meat pie cutter in their house, you can always use a round bowl. You place it on your dough, you cut it, then you put your fillings and you close the mouth. Use your fork to press it closed. But here we are using our meat pie cutter. So you place your dough like this on the meat pie cutter. Here's our filling. So you can also our filling is thick and moist. So you put your fillings in the middle. So we make our egg for egg wash. That's for washing the dough. So this is our egg. This is our brush. So you apply it on the edges of the dough on the meat pie cutter. so that it will make it sealed. So when you are baking, the meat pie will not just open the mouth. Everything will be sealed. So you closed and press. You can see. We have our meat pie. While doing the mixing, we also have on our oven, so that we preheat the oven at the temperature of 180. We preheat our oven for 10 to 15 minutes. So we'll be placing our baking sheet on the baking tray to avoid the meat pie from sticking to the pan. Instead of using butter to rub your baking pan, we are using baking sheets. This prevents the meat pie from burning and sticking to the pan. Don't place it so down, close to the light. At least it should be in the highest level of the oven, so that the heat will not be too much for it. You bake for 20 to 25 minutes depending on the temperature of the oven. Our meat pie is ready, and the thickness is not too thick, not too thin. It can be served with hot tea or cold chilled drink.